Okay, people just need to chill out a little bit on some of this stuff. I mean, seriously.
That he couldn't get free food, kicked and assaulted a manager.
Everything we discussed is then leaked to the paper. That's not appropriate.
Xi Jinping and Justin, the tyrants of both Canada and China, go at it at the G20 summit. Hobos attack restaurant workers in Berkeley, California. Wow, how tolerant. And where does the GOP go from here? Interesting discussion that's going to be ongoing. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from a schwanky hotel in downtown Lexington, Kentucky today. If you're in Kentucky, we'd love to see you tonight at Western Kentucky University. Bowling Green had a great event in Moorhead, Kentucky last night, but nevertheless, lots to talk to today. I got to do it like a condensed version of this show because checkout is in like 20 minutes. I'm not packed at all yet for the 3-hour drive to Bowling Green. But anyways, I wanted to start things off kind of different. Like that, we generally front load stuff like on the important things and then kind of save the, dare I say, riffraff, like the dumb things that AOC says and all that sort of stuff. We kind of save that till the end. But I kind of wanted to go at that first because I feel like this sort of stuff, even though it's, I don't want to say more interesting to watch, it's a more accurate depiction of where a lot of places around the country are, especially regarding crime. As you can tell, crime, pretty much every major metropolitan area has gone up. Ooh, I wonder if we should talk about the D.C. thing. Briefly, Washington, D.C., the City Council of Washington, D.C., just passed like some crazy new like ordinances regarding crime. The way that they're prosecuting, they're going to send like all of the misdemeanors to trial, which would just bog down the court system even more. They're trying to lessen gun penalties for having a gun in Washington, D.C. It is so crazily woke that the super woke mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, is like, whoa, this is not okay. It remains to be seen whether or not she's going to sign it, but she has spoken out against it. But the city council unanimously voted to basically legalize more crime in the nation's capital city. So that being said, this is across the country. This happened in Berkeley, California. A guy, I guess, walked into, wow, that's a really bright shot I'm looking at. The guy walked into a Thai food restaurant place and just, it as a commentary in the state of the world, guy said, I'm getting free food here. And then when he was denied, attacked the manager, because that's just what you do. Now, I wanted to play this clip from the local news in that area because I feel like they did a pretty good job at covering all this stuff. And because I wanted to show a couple clips at the very end, which I thought were fascinating. Some of the man on the street type stuff, again, in Berkeley, California. If you're not familiar with Berkeley, California, often called Berserkly, California, because some of the craziness that goes on there. I was up there doing at an event with Charlie Kirk, and some of of all of the places that I've been with Charlie, that was the most heated protests there. There were like people with megaphones who clearly didn't go to the University of Berkeley, just like lived in the Berserkly city of Berkeley, and that were just, it's bananas. All I'm trying to say is bananas without going on too long about it. Shoot, I got to remember, checkout's very soon. So watch this clip from the local news in that area and kind of just get a better picture of what life is like in some of these crazy woke enclaves. Check it out.
This Thai restaurant's dealt with the same guy before. He's dined and dashed in the past, but Berkeley police tell me this went way over the line. This is surveillance video from a Thai restaurant in downtown Berkeley.
A man came into a restaurant and he demanded some free food.
When the manager told him no, this happened. The suspect knees the manager in the ribs and then kicks him after he falls to the ground.
The suspect is attacking the manager, and the manager's falling over a table and There are a number of other people in the restaurant.
The attack happened in front of Shock Diners at about 5:15 Wednesday afternoon at the restaurant on Shattuck Avenue. But two customers jumped up and immediately confronted the suspect. They held him down until Berkeley police arrived.
The others in the store who were able to help out the staff person, the manager there, applaud their efforts. We certainly don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Berkeley police arrested this man, 32-year-old Anthony DeMaria, in connection.
Hold on. Does this just curious? Is anybody shocked by what this guy looks like? If you are, let us know in the comment section. Also, let us know in the comment section if you're not at all shocked what this dude looks like.
With the attack. He told one Good Samaritan he was upset because his grandmother had died.
I don't have any information as to his motives, but certainly nobody deserves to be attacked in that manner.
Restaurant staff tell me they've dealt with the same man at least twice before. In one case, they say he sat down for a meal and then left without paying. But authorities say dining and dashing, also known as defrauding an innkeeper, is a far cry from a violent assault. I showed the surveillance video to restaurant customers and passersby.
I love that they held him down. They didn't let him run out. They held him till the police came.
If I was in that situation, I would probably take him down as well. Customers stepping in, everybody stepping in.
Now the suspect's been charged by the Alameda County DA with felony assault with force likely to produce great bodily injury.
So there's the other thing there. Well, first things first, good to see Good Samaritans getting up and making sure that guy can't just leave, because you can't just... we live in a society. This is a society that appears to be breaking down, which I'm not a fan of. But you can't just get away with that sort of thing. So I'm glad there are Good Samaritans in there that stepped in, but also didn't get hurt by this clearly raving lunatic. I was at the gym. I live in Southern California, which is, it's very, very south of Berkeley. But there was just a random dude on meth dancing with a box cutter in the parking lot of the gym that I was at, in a relatively nice part of Southern California. So this stuff is everywhere. So I'm glad to see that they took him down and hopefully are taking action against him, but also nobody got hurt there. Now, the problem with a lot of this, he said this in the report, but didn't really make it a huge component of it, is that they've interacted with this person before who has dined and dashed on multiple occasions. And, okay, so we are just allowing that sort of thing in polite society nowadays. Like, that's just a thing. Now, I think I didn't look at this specifically, but it would not be surprising to me at all if this guy was out and about, free to roam the world later that afternoon after having attacked somebody, because California bail and their just overall legal system is pretty dang bad. So I don't know. Let us know in the comment section what you think about this. Do you see something like this happening in your neck of the woods? I know this is happening in Berkeley, California, but crime has gone up in a lot of places. And I would just be curious to see what your thoughts on that are. If you haven't already, I would appreciate you clicking the little like button that's like down here, and a little comment, or the little share button down here in the comment section. Let us know what you think. I would really appreciate that. Moving on quickly, because we have to. This is an interesting exchange. Xi Jinping and Justin, as I like to call him. I don't know why I like calling Justin by his first name. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. I also tweeted this. I feel like I'm going to get some blowback. I shared this particular photo and said, a veteran tyrant shares some wisdom with an up-and-comer. Because this is an interesting thing. Two people that I really, really don't like a lot getting in some sort of confrontation and trying to figure out whose side I'm on. Not that I have to pick a side, but it's pretty fascinating. So Xi Jinping was talking to Justin at the G20 conference in Indonesia, and listen to what the translator says. I'll try and read some of the captions too, because I don't know if you can hear it all that well. But basically, Xi is scolding Justin for leaking information from the meeting that they had. That's interesting. We'll talk about it on the other side, because I watched this clip, and we'll discuss the intricacies of trying to pick the less of two evils. Watch this.
Everything we discuss is then leaked to the paper. That's not appropriate.
而且我们也不是那样禁忌美
And that's not how the way the conversation was
如
conducted.
果有诚心，咱们就用一种互相尊重的态度来进行很好的沟通。
If there is
否则这个结果就不好说了。
if there is sincerity on your part,
free and open and frank dialogue, and that is what we will continue to have. We will continue to look to work constructively together, but there will be things we will disagree on, and we will have
一些可以建设性，但是
创造条件，创造条件。
let's create the conditions first.
好。
Well, first of all, it's also just weird that Justin's like walking around like a hallway with like no people around, which I don't know. Is that cool or is that like dangerous in a sense? Generally speaking, if you go to these sorts of conventions, now obviously there's not world leaders walking around things, but it's sometimes it's kind of difficult to get a hold of some of these people at events, and they don't generally walk by themselves places. Just because the nature of these types of events. So that's kind of interesting in and of itself. But the overall conversation I thought was fascinating just because apparently they had a meeting together and Justin and his people leaked pretty much the entire contents of that meeting, and Xi Jinping was not happy about that. Now, there's two sides of this juggling act that we have to do. One is that Xi Jinping is a dictator of a country that has like over 1 billion people and like 1 million slaves. So yeah, we are anti that. And so my initial reaction is, yeah, pound sand Xi Jinping, even though I'm irritated with Justin most of the time, I am more likely to be a proponent of the free exchange of ideas in the sense of our leaders having a conversation and letting the public know what that conversation is. Now, I don't know the specific contents of this conversation that was quote unquote leaked by Justin and the Canadians, but at the same time, it could have been some, I don't know, confidential information that is going to damage both sides and maybe the world if it were leaked. So I don't know entirely where I am on this sort of thing. I again initially am leaning towards Justin saying, yeah, you know, we believe in free and open dialogue, and I would like to share that with the people that I represent. But at the same time, there's a lot of shady stuff that Justin does that doesn't make this an easy. I don't. They're both wrong. How about that? How about we conclude on that? Is both Justin and Xi Jinping are both not to be trusted because they are both would seemingly be power hungry, a little tyrannical. So there's that. Let us know in the comment section what you think about this particular exchange. And it was also interesting. A couple nights ago, Joe Biden did not attend the big dinner gala, which I think he's fine. But at the same time, like, gets a little bit worried when a guy who's going to be 80 this weekend, I think his birthday is Saturday or Sunday. If you have that information, let me know in the comment section. When does the president turn 80 years old? He didn't attend the big gala dinner, which I don't know is concerning or what, but kind of fascinating stuff. Also, this is just random because I happen to be in Kentucky. I had no idea that Mitch McConnell was also 80 years old. What in the world? I mean, good for him because he doesn't seem like he's addled mentally, but holy cow, what is with all these ancient people? And again, this is not an ageist thing. Like, if you're in your 60s, even in your like early 70s, okay, fine. If you can still think critically and make tough decisions, great. But holy cow, 80 years old. There's also, just in regards to Trump's announcement 3 nights ago. What's day? Oh, my brain is there's a lot of planes, a lot of travel. I have no idea what day it is. But whenever Trump announced on Tuesday, the point was brought up that he would be older than Joe Biden was when he took office if he were to win re-election and go back into the White House in 2025. So there's that. Now, there's obviously the caveat of some of these leaders don't seem as old as they are, but I don't know, man. The whole age thing kind of really, man. And speaking of the GOP, I thought this was kind of interesting. I pulled a couple clips together of just Whether you like it or not, there's going to be a lot of infighting on the conservative side. I would, rather than try and sway people from one side to the other in terms of Trump versus DeSantis versus the establishment versus the renegades versus the MAGA people, rather than try to sway people from side to side, I would so much like that if we all could just argue policy ideas and not call each other names, because that doesn't help anybody. This is from Morning Joe. So the mainstream media is now picking up on the impending divisions among the freedom-loving side of the aisle. And I don't know, I think it's kind of fascinating. And then after that, I've got a clip of Josh Hawley talking about stuff, which, you know, this is all fascinating. Check this out from Morning Joe first.
You look at the press, you look at Fox News, you look at the Wall Street Journal, especially the opinion page, and things certainly are shifting. You also see it, Mika, on Capitol Hill, where you have a lot of Republicans who used to bend the knee to Donald Trump, who just aren't doing it right now.
Okay, so big thing going on here. Oops, let me make that. Big thing going on here is that there's a lot of mega donors that are pulling out from the Trump campaign. Now, again, this is not what we need, what the freedom-loving side of people need to not do is start calling people that disagree with them on the person names and ridiculing them based on their opinion on the vessel that carries the policy ideas. I think the majority of people on the Republican side of the aisle, the conservative side, of the freedom side, whatever you want to call it, are all on the same side policy-wise. For the most part, it's a united front on things like inflation, illegal immigration, violent crime, abortion. Everybody's on the same team here. Let's not divide our team based on the person that's going to eventually carry that message through to the general election. Now, obviously, you can argue your side, but I would implore people to not tear other people down in terms of, well, you're just you're a rhino, or whatever they call people if they don't support Donald Trump, if they don't support Ron DeSantis, whatever it is that you do is fine. Let's just, I just hope the infighting here isn't going to just be detrimental to the entire cause. Watch this from Josh Hawley in the halls of Congress yesterday, kind of talking about the same sort of thing. And this is all just fascinating stuff and really interesting to see unfold in real time. Check it out.
If you want to be a majority party, clearly what we're doing isn't working. It hasn't been working for a long time. And I think you look at independent voters. I mean, we gave them nothing, no alternative. That was the decision by leadership. They didn't want to have an agenda. And you look at what were the priorities in the last 2 years for leadership: caving to Chuck Schumer on gun control, caving to Chuck Schumer on the climate agenda, so-called infrastructure, caving to Chuck Schumer on the debt ceiling. I mean, it's not very inspiring, and then offering nothing affirmative to independent voters.
So that again is an interesting dynamic of trying to figure out what the party's next move is. To kind of wrap it up again, because I got to check out here in like 5 minutes. I want to play this clip, kind of summing it all together. Does it really, really well. And this is not, again, picking sides or doing anything of that nature, but gosh dang it, DeSantis is just so good on these sorts of topics, especially when it comes to trying to resolve the division that is impending on that side of the aisle. Check it out. This is interesting.
Look, I think we just finished this election. Okay, people just need to chill out a little bit on some of this stuff. I mean, seriously, we just ran an election. We have this Georgia runoff coming, which is very important for Republicans to win that Georgia runoff. I mean, I know around the country, Florida was kind of the biggest bright spot. It was not so bright in many other parts of the country. It was a substandard performance given the dynamics that are at play. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. But I think what people like me who've been given the opportunity to continue is, okay, let's do something with that. And the reason why we won historic victory is at the end of the day, we led, we delivered, and we had your back when you needed us. That is why we won big.
I hear all of you in the comment section going, what in the world is up with this video? Yeah, that was just the best video quality that I could find there. But Ron DeSantis kind of wrapping it up saying, hey, yeah, let's focus on what we are doing now rather than infighting. And, this is going to be really, really interesting. And sorry if you get tired of me talking about this, but I think this is going to be hugely important, bigly important, if you will, especially coming up. And I feel like the sooner it gets resolved, or at least the sooner that we can establish some sort of ground rules for the infighting, the better the outcome is going to be, if that makes sense. The more that we can understand, hey, we're good on the policy, let's not tear each other down versus regarding the person, the better chance we're going to have going forward. So there's that. Last thing that isn't necessarily related to this sort of stuff, the Los Angeles mayor's race got called yesterday by the AP. That guy Rick Caruso, who was running for mayor of LA, versus Karen Bass, who wants to be the president. She is way out there in terms of woke stuff. Ended up conceding yesterday. Rick Caruso is effectively a Republican. He re-registered as a Democrat because you have to, just in order to win an election in California, but had a pretty strong showing, especially in LA. Unfortunately, LA will continue to go in a downward trajectory, but at the same time, maybe somebody else will pop up and shine a brighter light on how bad it's gotten there, and maybe see if they can fix it. That's going to do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. I'm not sure how logistically to figure out how to do an episode for tomorrow. So if you don't see me tomorrow, sorry about that. I've got a show tonight and then got to drive to Nashville, and then I fly out of BNA like 7 a.m. back to Orange County, California, and it just might not be logistically possible to figure out how to get an episode together. So if you see me, great. If not, we'll see you Monday. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB on any of these social media platforms. You'll be able to find me: Twitter, Getter, Instagram, social media, or Facebook, YouTube, all of those. If you happen to live in Bowling Green, Kentucky, we'll see you tonight at Western Kentucky University. Tickets are still available. Outside of that, see you when we see you next. God bless America.